You are 14 years old, and today you learn your price is higher than your mother's. The platform beneath your feet is rough, splintered wood, worn down by hundreds of others who stood exactly where you are standing now, waiting to be measured, weighed, and turned into a number. A man circles you, not quickly, not nervously, carefully, like you are something that might break, or something that might be worth a lot of money. His cane taps once against the floor. He doesn't ask your name. He doesn't need it. Instead, he reaches out and squeezes your arm. Your muscles tense automatically, not from fear, but from memory. You already know what this is. You've seen it before, just never from up here. He presses harder, testing strength, testing value. Then his hand moves to your jaw, cold fingers, rough. He tilts your head back, pries your mouth open, checks your teeth, like a horse, like something that belongs to him, even before he pays for it. You don't resist, you don't move, because somewhere deep inside you, you understand something already. Resistance lowers your price, and lowering your price might send you somewhere worse. So you stand still, perfectly still, performing something you were never taught, but somehow already know. Strong build, good condition, 14 years old. 14. The number hangs in the air, not as a fact, but as a selling point. Somewhere below the platform, men are looking at you, not as a child, but as years of labor, years of profit, years of ownership. One of them steps closer. His eyes don't meet yours. They move across your body instead, calculating. How much? He asks. Not to you, never to you. To the man with the cane, to the system, to the moment that decides everything. And that's when you hear it, a voice, not loud, not desperate, but breaking. Your mother. She's standing just a few feet away, on the same platform, close enough to touch, but not close enough to save you. You don't turn your head. You can't. Not because you're not allowed, but because you already understand something worse. If you look at her, if you show that you belong to someone, your price changes. Families are not sold here. Units are not sold here. Everything is separated, because separation makes more money. 800. The first number lands. You don't know what 800 means exactly, but you know it is you. That is your number now. 850. 900. The numbers rise faster now, each one pulling you further away from everything you've ever known. You can feel it in your chest. Not fear, not yet. Something else. Something colder. The understanding that your life has just become a negotiation. Then, silence. A brief pause. The kind that feels like the world is holding its breath. Sold. And just like that, you are no longer where you were born. No longer with the people who raised you. No longer part of anything that remembers your name. You are a number, a transaction, a receipt waiting to be written. And somewhere behind you, your mother is still standing there, waiting for her turn. Because in this place, love has no value, but separation does. And today, you learned something no child should ever have to learn: how much a human is worth. The moment the gavel falls, everything becomes quieter. Not because the market has stopped, but because your part in it has already been decided. Hands reach for you. Not violently, not urgently, just routinely. Like this is normal. Like this has happened so many times before that no one even needs to think about it anymore. Because it has. They lead you down from the platform, past the same place where you once stood watching, never imagining you would stand there yourself. Behind you, next lot, the word lands differently now. Lot. Not person, not child, not son. Just inventory. And somewhere nearby, a man is writing your number into a book, ink pressing into paper. Permanent. Not your name, your value. This is how the system works. Not chaos, not randomness. Precision. Every person who passes through this place is measured, categorized, priced. Strength becomes currency. Age becomes calculation. Health becomes investment. Even silence becomes strategy. Because the ones who speak too much, who cry, who resist, they sell for less. And everyone knows it, even the children. You can feel eyes still on you, not watching you leave, but evaluating what they missed, whether they should have bid higher, whether you were worth more. Because here, nothing is final until it is owned. The man who bought you doesn't say anything at first. He doesn't look at your face. He looks at your shoulders, your hands, your posture, checking again if the price he paid matches what he believes he owns. Because ownership here is not about who you are, it's about what you can produce. Cotton, tobacco, labor, time, years of it, bought in a single moment. Around you, others are being processed the same way, moved, recorded, sorted. Some go in pairs, most go alone. A younger child is pulled from someone's arms nearby. The sound is short, cut off quickly, because even that slows the process. And the process must keep moving. The platform fills again. Another person steps forward. Another number begins. You realize something then, not all at once, but slowly, as the pieces settle. This place is not built on cruelty alone. It's built on efficiency. Every second is measured. Every movement serves a purpose. Every separation increases profit. Even yours. Because selling you alone made you more valuable, more flexible, easier to place, easier to own. And your mother is now a separate calculation, a different number, a different transaction. Somewhere behind you, her price is being negotiated, rising, falling, argued over. And you are not part of it anymore. That is how the system protects itself, not by hiding what it does, but by making sure no one can hold on to anything long enough to fight it. Not families, not names, not memories. Only numbers, only records, only ownership. And as you are led away from the platform, further from the only life you've known, you begin to understand something deeper than fear. This was never about who you are. It was always about what you are worth. At first, you think it's over. That once you've been sold, once the number has been called, once the gavel has fallen, there is nothing left to lose. But that isn't how it works. Because the system doesn't take everything at once. It takes it piece by piece. They stop walking. Not far from the platform. Not far enough. Close enough to still hear what's happening behind you. Woman, good condition, strong, mid-30s. You know that voice. Not the auctioneer, the description. Strong, reliable, healthy. Words you've heard your entire life. Words used when people talked about her. Your mother. You don't turn. You don't move. Because something inside you already knows. This is the moment. The one you were trying not to think about. The one that was always coming. 500. The number hits differently this time. Not because it's lower, but because it's hers. You feel it in your chest. Not like pain. Not yet. Something heavier. Something slower. Because now you understand the comparison. Your price and hers. 600. 650. The numbers rise again. Faster, colder, less careful. No one is checking her the way they checked you. No one is testing her strength. No one is calculating years. They already know. She has less time left, less profit, less value. And for the first time, you realize something that doesn't make sense. Something that shouldn't matter, but does. You were worth more. And that difference is what separates you now. Not distance, not choice. Value. Sold. That sound, it doesn't echo the same way. Not like before. Because this time, it doesn't just end something. It divides it. You hear movement behind you. Footsteps, voices. The shift of people being pulled in different directions. And then, you hear her. Not calling your name, not shouting, just breathing. Close enough to recognize. Far enough that it's already gone. You almost turn. Almost. But something stops you. Not fear, not obedience. Understanding. If you turn, if you look at her, if you reach, it doesn't change anything. It only makes the moment last longer. So you don't. You stand still, facing forward, like you were taught, like you learned in seconds on that platform. Because survival is already changing you, even now. Behind you, she is being led away. Not quickly, not roughly, just permanently. No one announces it, no one marks the moment, no one writes it down. Because separation is not an event here. It's routine. And routines don't need witnesses. The man beside you gestures forward. Move. His voice is calm, impatient, normal. You take a step, then another. Each one pulling you further away from the only person who knew you before you became a number. You don't cry. You don't call out. You don't stop. Because something inside you has already made another decision. Not spoken, not fully understood, but there. If this is how the world works, if this is what determines where you go, what you become, whether you survive, then you will learn it. You will adapt to it. You will become what it needs you to be. Not because you accept it, but because you have no other choice. And somewhere behind you, beyond the noise, beyond the system, beyond the numbers, a part of your life ends without a sound. The first thing you learn after the separation is that nothing stops. Not the work, not the system, not the expectations placed on you, as if nothing has changed. Morning comes the same way. Cold air, rough ground, the sound of others already moving. And you are expected to move with them. No pause, no acknowledgement, no space for what was taken from you. Because here, loss has no function. Only output does. You are given a sack, placed in a row, told where to stand. The field stretches endlessly in front of you. White rows, soft from a distance, sharp when you touch them. You reach down, pull, drop, repeat. At first, your hands move too slowly, too carefully, because your mind is somewhere else, still back there, still hearing something that hasn't fully left you yet. Faster, you don't look up, you don't respond, you just move quicker, because you already understand. Speed matters. Everything matters. How you stand, how you move, how you breathe, how you are seen. The others around you, they know it too. Some work fast, some keep their heads down, some don't speak at all. Not because they are broken, but because they have learned. This is not just labor, it is performance. And the ones who perform it best survive longer. Sometimes. You begin to notice patterns. Who gets watched? Who gets corrected? Who gets left alone? The ones who draw attention, they pay for it. The ones who disappear into the rhythm, they last. So you adjust. Not all at once, not consciously, but piece by piece. Your movements become sharper, more efficient. You stop hesitating. Stop thinking about each action. Pull, drop, step, repeat. You don't look around anymore. Not because you can't, but because it costs you something. Attention is risk. Emotion is risk. Even memory becomes something you learn to push away. Because remembering slows you down. And slowing down has consequences. You hear it happen to someone else. Not close, but close enough. And you understand, without needing to be told. So you become quieter inside. You stop reacting to things that once would have mattered. Stop holding on to thoughts that have no place here. Not because you don't feel them, but because feeling them doesn't help you survive. Days pass, then more. It becomes harder to measure time. Not because time has changed, but because every day feels the same. Wake, work, move, end, repeat. And somewhere in that repetition, you begin to understand something deeper. The price they gave you, it wasn't just for your body. It was for what they believed they could shape you into. And slowly, without ever saying it out loud, you begin to shape yourself first. You learn when to look tired and when not to. Learn when to speak and when silence protects you more. Learn how to exist in a way that draws the least attention. Because attention changes outcomes. And outcomes here are everything. Sometimes you hear them talk. Not to you, about you. Strong one. Good price. Worth it. You recognize those words now, not as compliments, as confirmation that the number they gave you is being justified. And that is when it becomes clear. Not all at once, but quietly. You are no longer just surviving the system. You are learning how to function inside it. How to become exactly what it expects. Not because you believe in it, not because you accept it, but because adapting is the only control you have left. And somewhere deep inside, beneath the rhythm, beneath the performance, beneath everything you are becoming, there is still something untouched. Something that remembers who you were before you had a price. You just don't let it surface anymore. By the time you understand it, you are no longer the same person who stood on that platform. Not because something was taken all at once, but because everything was changed, little by little, until there was nothing left untouched. The days keep repeating. The work continues. The system moves forward without ever needing to stop for anyone. And you move with it. Not resisting, not questioning, not anymore. Because survival here is not about fighting what exists. It's about becoming something that can exist within it. You learn to measure yourself differently now, not by who you were, not by where you came from, but by what you can endure, by how well you can disappear into the rhythm, by how little of yourself you allow the world to take next. Sometimes, when the field is quiet, when the work slows just enough, you remember. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. A voice, a number, a moment where everything changed. And somewhere in that memory, there is still a version of you who did not know what any of it meant, who still believed that people could not be divided by value, that a mother and a child could not be priced separately. That version of you does not exist here anymore. But it is not gone. Not completely. Because no matter how much the system measures, no matter how carefully it records, no matter how many numbers it assigns, there is something it cannot fully calculate. Something that does not fit into ledgers, or markets, or transactions. Something that existed before the price, and remains, even after it. They can own your labor, your time, your body, but there is a part of you they never fully reach. Even if you bury it, even if you silence it, even if you pretend it is no longer there. It waits. Not loudly, not visibly, but patiently. Because one day, this system will end. Not quickly, not easily, but it will. And when it does, what remains will not be the numbers, not the prices, not the records. Those will disappear, forgotten, rewritten, lost. What remains are the people who lived through it, and the truth they carried, even when no one wrote it down. You stand in the field, wind moving past you, hands still working, body still moving. But somewhere inside, something has changed again. Not back to what it was, but forward into something that cannot be priced. Because you understand now, not what you are worth to them, but what they will never be able to take from you. And that understanding, quiet as it is the only thing that was never for sale. Something sensitive